This video will be all about the feedback of myself, my friends, and surveys I've taken in lesson. Now, I have no idea how long this video will be, as I've not done a script for it, but with that said, let's crack on. The first thing I want to talk about is my personal feedback to myself. Now, I don't have any good form of written or examples of this, but I do have some notes down that I've jotted to myself that I'd like to go through, as they might come up in the future. So the first one is crosshair. Now, it seems that when I'm watching other people play that they've had different reactions to the crosshair. Some people really like it, some people dislike it. Also, some people don't know how they feel about the switching between sprinting and walking and the holding it in the sights, that being toggle or hold to, do that one thing. I'm thinking of possibly doing a switch for that. So, do you want it toggle based or do you want it hold based? Next is some particle effects. So for charging up the bow, a lot of people feel that they don't get enough feedback when doing a lot, which I'm planning to do. But at the moment, I don't think I'll be able to do that. Although it's definitely gone way more on my priority list as I'm coming to a lot less time as I'm nearing the end of the project. Another thing is the game feels a lot like a wave game. And by that I mean a horde of enemies will come at you over a certain amount of time, and if you kill them all, then another wave will come with even more monsters, making it harder and harder, and you just have to keep going for as long as you can. I do quite like this, and if I had more time, I might even would have changed my game to this sort of style, because I think it fits it a lot more. These kind of waves coming at you as you're trying to go through this procedurally generated area, and it's possible I might do this in a future project. But at the moment, I'm just going to stick with my own game and try and make it feel more adventure-like and stray away from this wave-based game. Finally, the main thing that I've gotten was you die really quickly or the game's quite hard. So basically, I should either increase the player's health, make them do more damage, or make the enemies do less damage. And I will be tweaking around with those over the next couple weeks and whenever I get people to play it, as I feel like that feedback would be really good. Also, the game just needs a bit more. Some XP, some health, some money. Just some more content so the player doesn't feel like they're not doing anything. With that, that's all the personal feedback from myself. And I haven't really acted upon any of it yet because these are all just quick notes I made before. And a lot of the ones I come up with on the spot while I'm designing, I've already rectified and done this. Now, for the survey. Unfortunately, during the lesson we didn't manage to get through everyone, and one of those people were including me. So I only managed to get 2 of my friends to play my game, so I don't have too many feedback, but I feel like it's important to read them out, just so I can say how I feel about it, and it might give me some really good information. So question 1. What kind of HUD graphics do you think would fit the game? Any games that come to mind? The first one was after playing your game. One game does stand out a lot to me, and that is Minecraft. I would say you should start looking into a game like that and do some research, or the Lego Movie /game. Now, I understand what they're saying with the concept and design. However, personally, I don't think it would fit it. The Lego Movie possibly, but I feel like especially with the Minecraft one, the designs are too blocky, and that one's a lot more for you're going to be holding a lot of different items and a lot of different armors, which my game won't really have, so I don't feel like they really fit, but I will definitely look into them for the more stylistic approach. The other response I got was much more of actual what should be in the HUD. So a health bar, a score, kills, money, a charge meter, maybe a minimap, and a crosshair. At the time, I took away the crosshair, because it was when I recorded this is when the work was lost, and the crosshair was one of those. Now, score is a really interesting one. All the others I've thought of before and possibly might add, although the minimap I'm straying away from more now, the rest sound perfect. However, score is really interesting to me because I've not really thought about a score system, is it a point-based thing? So it's you go through the thing and you get a score at the end of it. That might be really good, and I don't think it'd be too hard to do, so I'm going to see if I have time to possibly add one in, because I think that'd be really interesting and fun. Now for question 2. How did you feel about the landscape? How did the animations and models feel? I thought the animations were great. It's playful looking and simple. I also like the layout of the land, but I think the arrangement of the trees and rocks could be more organised. Now, it looks a lot like it's closer together, and look into other games like Zelda, Skyrim, God of War, etc., and see how they've arranged their trees and rocks. Now, I definitely understand what they mean, although it seems that they've kind of contradicted themselves. So, I know what they mean by organised or it's closer together, because obviously they're all in one square, and I just did a load of them at once, so it felt like a dense forest. However, when exploring the world, it literally looks like you're exploring this block world, which I don't know if I want to go for that feel. So I would like to be able to possibly find out how I could make it look a bit more natural generating. So, if you had like the plains to the trees biome didn't look like it was immediately a cut off, and instead looked like it was more gradual. So I don't think I'd be able to do this, but I would love to be able to try something like that. Next, the landscape is basic, but as fun as it is, and it isn't difficult to navigate. Maybe add some height gameplay so that it's not all flat ground though. Mountain level. So, this is really interesting. So they actually, opposite to the first response, they think the landscape is perfectly as it is and it's fun. They just feel that they need to be able to explore vertically along with on the normal ground. I have thought about ways of doing this and possibly having like multiple layers that the levels can spawn on, but that'd be quite hard to program. An idea of a mountain level is actually really interesting. I had not thought of that. So I could possibly do something where there's a certain landscape that's purposely like it starts on the same level, but when you reach the center of it or the corner of it, for an example, it's much higher up, and that could be really interesting and really fun. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to see if I'd be able to add that in, but definitely on like one of the extra ones, like the lake one I was adding originally. Now for question 3 is what kind of audio was missing? Anything you feel like you should be hearing? I want to hear the bow and arrow every time you shoot the enemies, footsteps, some kind of fun clumsy music when walking around a bit. When you are close to the enemy, there would be a music chain to indicate the enemy is nearby, and then the music would intensify when you are shooting the enemy. So pretty much they want I'm imagining Skyrim, where, if you have someone looking at you, that immediately starts combat music and you realize, oh, there's an enemy nearby, I need to be on alert. This is a perfectly good idea, and I might add something like this. In fact, I want to add something like this, but I don't know if I'd be able to, and I don't know how I'd honestly get it in so it would do it every time, because I can't imagine it being on like an enemy blueprint. So when you're looking at them play this audio, that would take if it was for every single enemy, I don't know how I'd get it to work, honestly. So it's something I want to do, but unfortunately I don't think I would be able to, but I'll definitely give it some research when I can. Only some feedback sounds. Arrow firing sound, hit sound, background sound. So yeah, basically they're saying the same things apart from the music. They just want some feedback sounds. I completely agree, and I only need to record them, so they're pretty much on line with what I had in mind, and I'll just need to get them done very soon, so by the next time we're doing our own play day, I can get more feedback that, where they can say, this audio sounded terrible, the feedback sound sounded so weird, or the bow sound sounded so fun, and more constructive feedback where I'd be able to improve the audio a lot better. Now for question 4, was the combat fun, or did anything stand out about it? I think there has got to be an aiming target sign so it's easy to shoot. While playing the game, I had to guide on the target and where to shoot. Now, I apologize if I mispronounced any of that or if I was badly reading it, but I kind of get what they're saying. They want something where to shoot, and like I said with my own personal feedback, I need to find out a good balance between the predict path one and the crosshair, maybe have them be able to be switched out, or maybe I'll stick with one and, just leave it at that. Basically, all I need to do for that is let some people play it, see how they feel, and just choose what I think would work the best. If it's very even, I'll try and work out a way to have both of them. If some people, if most of the people really like the crosshair and not a big fan of the predict path, I'll probably just scrap that or vice versa. So now for the next one, the combat was great, although maybe have sort of a melee system for enemies that get too close, or maybe some sort of radial damage or explosive type damage in some form. Magic? So I completely agree. I'm already planning to do a melee system, and the idea of magic actually gave me an idea. So I was trying to think of abilities on top of the things for the archer class. So on top of like the charge up and like the aim down sights, because they're not really abilities. That's just how a bow works. So the magic actually gave me a really good idea of like different arrows that you can switch between. This would be semi hard to program, but honestly, I don't think it'd be too bad. So I'd really like it if I could do something like that. I think that'd be really cool and interesting. I just don't know if I would be able to, honestly. But I'd love to try, and I probably will develop that if I have some time to add on. But I'm already planning to do the melee system as well, so they're pretty much, both of them are on the same line, and I'm already working on the feedback. Question 5, the last one. Lastly, anything you think I forgot to mention that you feel is very important? So the first one was not that I can think of. Maybe when you have developed your game further and I've played it more, I'll be able to give more feedback. Yeah, I completely agree. I just need to spend a bit more time developing the game and making it so I can get some good constructive feedback that would help me design the game a bit better. And the other one is more content needs to be added in the game, although I'm sure you're already planning on it. The first things I would work on is a crosshair, health bar, and score system. Score/kills. Now, again, as I said before, it's almost perfect with what I have in mind. I've got the predict path stuff set up now. I can easily add a crosshair. I just need to spend some time doing that. And the health bar HUD I want to do, so with the charge up system. And the scores and kills, as I said, I do want to try something like that. I think that'd be really interesting and cool to do. So maybe when I start my HUD designs and implementation, I'll come up with a nice basic concept for that. With that, that's all the information I got from the surveys and the feedback. It was super helpful, and I can see that there's some things I should think about more, and they've given me some ideas to work with. But overall, they've got the same sort of ideas I have, which is really nice and refreshing to know. So now for friends. Unfortunately, I don't have anything apart from one amazingly drawn feedback mind map almost that my girlfriend made, although a lot of the same points are what a lot of my friends think. So I'm going to go through them, each point that she's made, and you'll see the full one on the board, on the video right now. Would be cool if mouse sensitivity could be adjusted manually by user in game. I agree. A lot of games you're able to change the sensitivity. I don't know if you can do that in Unreal. I'm sure there might be somewhere in the project settings, and in which case I'd love to be able to have like an escape map, or like a menu where if you hit escape, it opens up and you go on options and you can edit like these little settings like the toggle on and off and the sensitivity, because it'd make it a lot more player friendly and the interactivity way nicer for the individual player instead of just, the people I have in mind. I like the option of third and first person, though I think you need to alter how the character uses their weapon in each, as they do not match each other. Third person only fires from the chest, but first is more agile. So, if you remember from my previous posts, I stopped it being able to rotate on the third person because I felt it was so impossible to aim. Even with a crosshair, the crosshair didn't really line up perfectly because obviously it changed depending on the distance you were aiming at. So there might be a way to set up the crosshair for that way, because some third-party games do, third-person games do work that way. But I don't know. But that's where the predict path stuff comes in, because the predict path, it doesn't matter which side you're doing it on, it still works. I'm just going to have to get some more feedback on that and just have a different, on my next one, I'm definitely going to have to set up a system where the players can, switch between them and just get some feedback, on that, because it's, the biggest one that's been on since the start of the game. I think you should place a mark on the front of enemies until you finish their design, because I can barely tell when they see me if I don't know which side their eyes are on. So that should be fixed now. So this was before I made the improvements to the enemies, and they were just grey boxes. So this should be working fine now, and yeah, I already solved this solution. Enemy is easy to kill from distance, but since I can't see which side their face is on, it's hard to kill close as they can suddenly attack. I also think they kill too quickly. So, as I said in my personal ones, some people, when they played this, they thought the game's quite hard and you can die really quickly. So I'm just going to have to mess around with the settings on how much damage they do, how much health they have, how much health you have, stuff like that to see which I think would work the best. Hopefully, I get it right and everything works perfectly. I think the enemy arrows should be different colours, as I can't tell if they hit me, or if I hit the enemy, or if I'm not close enough. Again, that should be solved now, because of the model, they're green and your arrow is like a distinctive colour, so hopefully you should be able to tell, and with the health bar above them, it makes it way more obvious when you're actually hitting them. I think the weapon should have a smaller delay, about 0.5 to 1 second, and maybe include a reload sound in between so I know when I can shoot next. So they think it's a gun when it's supposed to be a bow, but that's fine because at the moment it's just a giant grey box, so it doesn't really matter. But what is interesting to me is when I originally made this, or when they were originally playing it, the speed was at 0.5 seconds, and so they were like, oh, have it this or higher because it's too slow. So I actually fixed in quotation marks, this. I took it down to 0.4 seconds to see if that gives the illusion that you're just firing a wee bit faster, but it just makes it feel like it's a bit more fluent. So again, I'm going to have to see how the shooting system feels, but the survey came after this, and so hopefully, as they said the combat felt good, that means that it works and everything feels good. Finally, traveling the world is a little slow, but mostly because there isn't much of a goal currently, so I feel as if I'm going in circles. Maybe I had the occasional visual checkpoint. So I need to figure out a way that makes the player know where to go or something to do. This could be like a beacon, or like, I'm not sure honestly. I'm definitely gonna have to spend a lot of time thinking about this immediately after this video is done and the blog is all up, because it's definitely the biggest thing at the moment I need to work on. It's just, a sense of progression in the game, a sense of, you need to go here to do this, because at the moment it's got like the building blocks of a game that could be good, but it's just not got the actual meat on the bone for it to be fun, and so you have something to do and you're not just shooting at random enemies running at you like a wave game. So with that, that's all the feedback and all my opinions on it. Sorry I'm so bad at talking, I don't really know how to say. On most of my videos, I think on all, I've used a script apart from like the first 1, 2, 3 maybe. And so I'm not very used to like talking from my mind, which is why you get a lot of the and the breaks when I'm talking. So I apologize for that. I've hopefully gone through a lot of the audio and tried to cut most of them out, but I'm sure I haven't got most of them because I do it all the time. So I apologize if this was quite a grind to get through, but I feel like this is important was feedback, and it's much easier to say what's on the top of my mind when reading this sort of feedback instead of having like a script already prepared for it. Because although it does give me a bit more time to think about what I'm going to say, at the end of the time I don't feel it's what I actually think of the feedback, because I only really get that when I first read through it, or, I'm reading through it and just what comes to the front of my mind. So hopefully this was the best way to portray the feedback and give good responses to it. And hopefully during this video there'll be some good editing so you can see some of the improvements I've made that are off the feedback, and you know, so it's not just me rambling and sounding terrible. With that, I think that's all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.